They had the most expensive wedding in Lagos, but just 6 months later, one word destroyed everything: equality. African Tales by Delight presents. She got a high-paying job and lost her husband. A Nigerian marriage story.
The Lagos air crackled not just with traffic, but with the electric current between Temi and Lola. Their courtship was a dizzying whirlwind, the stuff of Nollywood dreams and Instagram envy. Temi, a charming tech entrepreneur, and Lola, a vibrant, compassionate soul, were inseparable, literally. Their communication wasn't merely frequent, it was a rhythmic necessity. Every 3 hours, like a perfectly tuned clock, a call, a text, or a voice note would bridge any distance. Temi, just checking if you've eaten. Don't tell me you're still on that pitch deck. Lola's voice, a melodic blend of concern and playfulness, would cut through the business of his day. My queen, he'd reply, using her favorite pet name, I'm sipping Zobo now, thinking about the color of the Oso Ebi for the wedding. See. You're always the priority. Their friends called them excessive, their families simply smiled, basking in the glow of such intense, unadulterated love. They were an open book of affection, holding hands as they navigated the bustling markets of Balegan, sharing roasted corn by the roadside, and whispering promises late into the night. Their dates were legendary, from lavish dinners in Victoria Island to quiet, profound moments watching the sunset over the Atlantic. Lola saw Temi as her anchor, her future, the man who would always put her first. Temi saw Lola as his soft place to land, his peace in the chaotic world of startups. The depth of their connection felt unbreakable, built on a foundation of constant contact and mutual adoration. The wedding planning became a public spectacle, fueled by the couple's visible passion. They chose the finest venues, the most expensive caterers, and the most exclusive tailors. Everyone knew that Temi and Lola's wedding would be the talk of the town, a testament to a love that seemed destined for a happily ever after, defying the usual cynicism of modern relationships. The invitations were out, the dates set, and the 3-hour check-ins continued, a sweet, obsessive habit they promised to carry into their marriage. The entire city of Lagos waited with bated breath for the union of this perfect pair. The wedding was everything promised and more. A flamboyant, expensive affair at the Eco Convention Center. Hundreds of guests, a 90 cake, and a dazzling display of cultural fashion made it the undisputed talk of the town. Temi looked regal in his crisp border, and Lola was breathtaking in her intricately beaded gown. The vows exchanged were not just words, they were a public declaration of the deeply entrenched affection that had characterized their courtship. After the honeymoon in the Maldives, they settled into their luxurious matrimonial home in Ikoyi. Life transitioned smoothly, adapting to the new reality of marital cohabitation. Lola had willingly embraced her role as the traditional Nigerian wife, at least initially. She wasn't working. Temi had insisted she take a break, offering to provide for absolutely everything she needed, allowing her to focus entirely on setting up their home. Lola, in turn, treated Temi like a king. The aroma of delicious Nigerian cuisine, jollof rice, pounded yam and egusi, or spicy fish stew, was a constant presence in their kitchen. She was meticulous, ensuring his laundry was perfectly done, his favorite chair was always ready, and he returned home to a welcoming, peaceful sanctuary. Their communication had subtly changed, the 3-hour check-ins morphed into the comfortable silence of shared space, punctuated by deep, meaningful evening conversations. This is exactly what I wanted, my love, Temi often murmured, pulling her close after a long day. You are my peace. Lola thrived on his praise and the financial stability he provided. She felt valued, secure, and deeply loved. The intense courtship rhythm had slowed, replaced by a quiet, deep domestic bliss. Their first 6 months were a picturesque tableau of modern wealth meeting traditional roles, a period of unquestioned harmony where Temi's provider role and Lola's natural role dovetailed perfectly. This initial phase was the calm before an unexpected, career-driven storm, the seemingly perfect equilibrium about to be violently disrupted by external ambition and toxic advice. The calm lasted precisely 6 months. Temi's initial joy at Lola's homemaking skills began to feel less fulfilling to her as the novelty wore off. She missed the intellectual challenge, the buzz of a professional life. When a former university friend offered her a position as a senior manager in a prominent multinational firm, a high-paying job with significant perks, Lola hesitated only briefly. Temi, supportive as always, encouraged her to take it, proud of his wife's brilliance. The change was instantaneous and drastic. The meticulously planned home-cooked meals became less frequent, replaced by quick, often ordered-in dinners. The constant availability was replaced by late nights and early mornings dictated by her new corporate schedule. She was thriving professionally, the high-powered corporate environment injecting her with a new sense of independence and self-worth. The most significant change, however, was her exposure to her new colleagues. Specifically, a woman named Lola, a sharp, cynical senior executive, became Lola's mentor and confidant. Lola was a staunch, vocal proponent of a highly aggressive brand of feminism, one that viewed any form of submission or traditional wifehood as weakness and a betrayal of women's potential. Lola, you have a six-figure salary now. Why are you still asking him for permission? You're a boss, not a maid, Lola asserted during one of their long lunch breaks. You gave up your power by letting him provide everything. You need to demand equality or equal rights, dear. He's your husband, not your owner. Lola's words, initially shocking, began to resonate. Lola started seeing Temi's provision not as love, but as control. She started viewing her traditional acts of service not as devotion, but as servitude. The seed of discontent was sown, and with every promotion and payslip, it grew into a towering oak of resentment and demand. The delicate balance of their 6-month marriage was about to be obliterated by a misguided interpretation of independence, driven by persuasive, yet ultimately toxic, outside counsel. Lola's transformation was astonishingly quick. Her new workplace philosophy became her home doctrine. The request for equal rights began small, a refusal to do laundry, a demand that Temi start cooking on alternate days. Soon, they escalated into bold, non-negotiable demands that chipped away at the foundation of their relationship and Temi's traditional understanding of their marriage. Temi, I have a boardroom meeting at 7 a.m. I can't be peeling yams tonight. You need to pull your weight. Equality, remember, she declared, dropping her briefcase and heading straight for the bedroom, leaving him standing by the cold stove. Temi was bewildered. This was not the loving, giving woman he had married. He tried to reason with her, pointing out that during her 6 months off, he had never once complained, happily footing all the bills while she focused on the home. That was then, this is now, she snapped, a hard edge replacing the softness in her voice. I am not financially dependent anymore. I am your equal partner, and that means a 50-50 split on all domestic chores. You're trying to oppress me just because you're a man? She had internalized Lola's advice to the point of becoming a different person. Lola had explicitly advised her to bully her husband, arguing that men only respect a woman who exerts authority over them. Lola began making unilateral decisions about their finances and social life, dismissing Temi's opinions with a wave of her hand and a dismissive, I make my own money now, so I decide. The romance evaporated, replaced by cold negotiation and constant friction. The home, once a sanctuary of peace, became a battlefield of wills. Temi, accustomed to being the provider and the respected head of the household, felt emasculated and deeply hurt. He watched helplessly as his loving wife morphed into a cold, domineering partner, her every action a calculated execution of a stranger's toxic marital philosophy. The constant, loving communication of their past was now replaced by terse, conflict-ridden conversations, signaling the irreparable fracture forming between them. The bullying became relentless, subtle at first, then overt. Lola would openly contradict Temi in front of their friends, making snide remarks about his traditional views. The atmosphere in their home was tense, dominated by Lola's exertion of authority and her increasingly aggressive stance on equal rights. Temi felt like a board member constantly outvoted, rather than a husband. One Friday evening, after Lola had refused to attend a dinner with his extended family because they are too traditional for my new self, Temi reached his breaking point. He drove straight to his mother's house in Suraleh, the weight of his collapsing marriage heavy on his chest. Mama Temi, a woman of profound wisdom and quiet strength, listened patiently as her son poured out his heart. Mama, she is no longer my Lola. She listens only to her colleague. She is bullying me. I feel like a visitor in my own home, he confessed, the pain evident in his voice. His mother looked him in the eye, her expression one of deep concern. My son, you must be strong. This is the devil's work of bad advice. You must talk to her, remind her of the vows. I will speak to her myself. This Oyebo culture of fighting your husband is not our way. You are the head. She must honor you. Mama Temi did not waste time. The next day, she called her daughter-in-law. Lola came, expecting praise for her career success. Instead, she was met with a stern, loving warning. Lola, my daughter, listen to me. The words did not penetrate. She saw Mama Temi's advice as antiquated, as a form of patriarchal oppression designed to keep women subjugated. The toxic counsel of her colleague, Lola, had already poisoned the well, making her immune to the wise, motherly intervention. Mama Temi's intervention only solidified Lola's resolve, fueled by Lola's insidious influence. She's just trying to control you, Lola. Old school mentality. Stand your ground. If you back down now, he will always rule you, Lola had texted her immediately after the conversation with her mother-in-law. Lola, convinced she was fighting a battle for all modern Nigerian women, refused to tread with caution. She openly dismissed her mother-in-law's advice to Temi, stating that her own mother would have told her to leave any man who did not respect her value. This was a clear, hurtful line drawn in the sand, demonstrating a shocking lack of respect for Temi's mother. The power struggle escalated beyond chores and finances. It became about sheer dominance. Lola started deliberately arriving home late without informing Temi, then acting offended when he expressed concern. She started spending more weekends with her colleagues, claiming networking was more important than their failing marriage. Temi, driven to despair, once again tried to appeal to the woman he had married. "Sod, I miss us. I miss talking to you about more than just a rota for washing plates. I miss my wife," he pleaded one night, the raw vulnerability of his confession hanging heavy in the air. Her response was chillingly detached. "Then get used to the new normal, Temi. The wife you married was a dependent child. The woman you have now is a financially independent equal. If you can't handle a strong woman, maybe you should have married a maid," she retorted, using the very word that wounded him most. Her words were like a physical blow. The constant emotional abuse and the relentless effort to assert her superiority, driven by a twisted interpretation of feminism, had pushed Temi past the point of pain and into cold, rational exhaustion. He realized that his wife was consciously choosing to destroy their marriage, preferring the validation of a toxic colleague over the happiness of her husband. The love that once defined their lives was now nothing more than a painful, fading memory. The atmosphere in the house became unbearable, a cold war fought with silence, passive aggression, and outright hostility. The constant tension finally culminated in a massive, definitive confrontation over a simple disagreement about holiday plans. Temi wanted a quiet getaway to Calabar. Lola, acting on Lola's advice to always choose her own path, had booked a trip to Dubai with her colleagues without consulting him. "I am going to Dubai. My company is paying for half, and I am paying for the other half. It's a business networking opportunity, which is more important than your desire for a quiet Calabar trip," she announced, packing her expensive luggage. "Sod, we are married. This is not how a partnership works. You don't make unilateral decisions and expect me to just accept them," Temi roared, his voice shaking with a mixture of anger and profound betrayal. "You have destroyed everything. You have chosen to listen to a fool over your husband and your mother-in-law." Lola turned on him, her eyes blazing with an anger that was entirely foreign to the woman he courted. "I have chosen my self-worth. I have chosen equality. You can't handle the fact that I am no longer your kitchen slave." Lola was right, "You are just a traditional tyrant who wants to keep a woman down. I will not be bullied by you," she shouted back, using the very language of her colleague. "Bully me?" Temi's voice dropped to a terrifyingly quiet pitch. "You are the one who has been the bully for 6 months, Lola. You have confused independence with domination. You have confused equality with disrespect. I am tired. I am emotionally exhausted. I am done." Lola scoffed, convinced this was an empty threat designed to exert authority. "You're done. Go on, then. Leave. See if I beg you to come back. I can afford my own life, my own house, and my own happiness," she sneered, fully believing her professional success made her invincible to emotional loss. Her arrogance was total, her dependence on Lola's toxic advice complete, blinding her to the finality of Temi's heartbreak. The silence that followed Lola's arrogant challenge was deafening. Temi didn't shout back. He simply nodded, a desolate, empty expression replacing the anger on his face. He walked into their walk-in closet, not to argue, but to pack his own suitcase. Lola watched, initially with smug satisfaction, then with a creeping sense of unease as she saw the finality in his movements. She had pushed him countless times, but she had never truly believed he would leave her. Temi packed quickly, efficiently, only the essentials. He left the wedding photos on the bedside table, a painful reminder of the dream they once shared. As he zipped up his bag, he turned to Lola, who was now leaning against the door frame, her high-paying job suddenly feeling hollow. "You said you were done being a slave, Lola. But you just traded one master for another," he stated, his voice flat, devoid of emotion. "You became a slave to Lola's toxic advice and the fear that if you weren't dominating, you were being dominated. You destroyed a beautiful thing because a colleague told you to bully the man who loved you more than life itself." He picked up his bag. "I gave you everything, my provision, my patience, and my mother's wisdom. You chose a lie. I hope your job and your equal rights keep you warm." And with that, Temi left her. The slamming of the front door echoed through the silent, luxurious house, a sound far louder and more final than any argument. Lola stood motionless, the triumphant mask slipping to reveal a core of cold, terrifying regret. She was financially independent, a senior manager, the perfect product of a toxic corporate philosophy, but she was utterly, devastatingly alone. The talk of the town wedding had ended not with a whimper, but with the sudden, sharp, and decisive departure of the man she had loved, and then foolishly pushed away. The opulent house, once filled with the rhythm of their 3-hour check-ins, was now just an empty, silent prison built on misguided pride. Thanks for watching this folktale till the end. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and leave a comment to tell us what lesson touched your heart the most. Don't forget to subscribe and press the notification bell so you never miss another African folktale.